adventure, some bound in chains, through battles waged and fought, through victory and pain, by test of their courage, our freedom was gained. In homage to those gone before us, the heroes of lands in the sun, we vow to join hands and to focus on building one Caribbean. Raise your voices high, sing of your Caribbean pride. Sing it loud.
Welcome, brothers, welcome, sisters, to our program On Target. Our brothers and sisters from the diaspora, CARICOM, any part of the world that you're fortunate enough to hear us, welcome to our program. And as soon as we start this program, we invite you to pick up the telephone and call. We never have a subject matter. We speak on anything: politics, religion, socio-economic issues, or any topical issue, any issue trending, and you can introduce your own subject matter. We express our views and opinion on any subject matter we're comfortable with, particularly politics. If we have new information, we change in our opinion. Because you know, we are not perfect, we're very prejudiced. And opinion is based upon your own prejudice and the information you have at the time. The number to call is 442-0175. And this is Lenten season. And today is Wednesday, the 5th week of Lent. And we are approaching Passion Week. This is perhaps the holiest period in the life of Catholics and Anglicans and Orthodox and Lutherans, a number of other the old traditional religion. I always say to people, even if you do not believe, but because you live in a society with a number of people with different beliefs, you should know what these celebrations are all about. And there are always some positive that you can take from other people's belief. Because we live together, we don't live in isolation. The main pillars of this season is prayer and fasting and giving alms. All religion believe in giving alms. All religion. Some religion put more emphasis on it than others, but they believe in giving alms. And the Catholics believe that when you pray, it's an expression, it's like an outward sign of an inward grace. And that's you pray because you love God. Some people tell you the activity in the church is not because of the fear of hell, but because of the love of God. That is a fundamental. Some people go to church and they are Christians because they're afraid of hell. Some people say it's not because of the fear of hell. It's because of my love for God. And we must encourage our children to pray and deny themselves sometimes and help others. Always help others. If you have 6 mango, don't suck all, man. Share it. You know, sometimes we greedy. But that is when children are born pure, you know. It's a gift from God. They're born pure. And big people spoil them. So if you teach your children to pray and to deny themselves, sometimes children create embarrassment for parents because they are not trained properly. And sometimes they make a ruckus. They throw tantrums for things that parents don't have money to buy. But if from a very young age you teach them to deny themselves, that might help. You know? So you could give me a call. The number to call is 442-0175. In Grenada, there is not a dull moment, And this is the political season. Both sides warming up. It appears that the NNP launched two of the candidates yesterday from St. Andrews. St. Andrews Northeast and Northwest. Delma Thomas and Kate Lewis. Well, Kate is in a shining light these days. Recently, she was in the news. She got married. She seems to be happy, comfortable, and excited about her role as a candidate. We have a caller on the line. Caller, welcome.
Hey, good afternoon, Mr. Pierre. Good afternoon. How are you doing? Yeah. Mr. Pierre, yes, yesterday, Sister Kate Lewis Peters and Honorable Kate Lewis Peters and Delma Thomas, they was launched yesterday as the candidate for the two candidates so far, because we know the other two, they will be the candidate for St. Andrews, the four powerful women of St. Andrews who continue to demonstrate the care and love and that they have the track record of helping people. And that track record, that didn't happen with them only when they get in politics. The other politics, they come in with that, and they demonstrate that love and care for the people of the four constituencies in Andrews. And I want to say again, a successful politician will be successful when other politics you was there helping in helping people. And when you get into politics, and you get politics with the same desire to reach out and help people. Yes, as the Bible say, like when they ask Christ, who you should love? You say to Christ, love those who love you. Christ said, no, those who hate you and despise you, you also have to love them. Right? And you have to love everybody. And one thing I could say with this book, don't matter what sort of offense you are, you come to the office and you need help, you're going to get help. You're going to get help. Because NMP is a party of inclusive. They don't exclude nobody. And that's why the symbol of NMP is the house. And in that house, there is room that will always open for anyone who wants to come in. As Christ, God said in His word, I love the sinners, but I hate the sinners. I hate the thing that the sinners doing. As I always say to people, yes, you mightn't love what someone said, right? But then the things that they say, maybe something, you mightn't love you may say, I don't love that person. But sometimes look at the message. Look at the message that the person giving. Is it a message to help develop it? Put aside what difference you and the person have and accept the message. But many times you give somebody a message, but because who are you? Who are you? I like a boy who used to be in the village running up and down. And they forgetting the message. Right? So I always say, I always would like to see the people. Forget about what you and the person had before. But if that same person that you might have a problem with, that same person too that tomorrow please God, you see one may come to help you to help you when you're in need. And I will say it again to people. Love fulfills everything. They say money make the world go wrong, but love is important. And when you have love and your respect for one another, you can achieve and will be successful in wherever you want to reach in life. Because your education is important. But if you may be very educated and you lack respect, you lack the discipline, that could hinder you. So I want to say to the young people, Great Caribbean Pitmatic, respect your elders, and elders respect the young people. Respect goes one way, it goes both sides. And respect, you cannot take respect, you don't earn respect. You give respect, you get back respect. And they were saying, what you sow, that what you reap. And then I always want to say to the seniors, elders, those who aspire to be leaders and political candidates, never encourage the young people to respect the seniors. Because what you encourage them to do to others, some days he will come back to you. And then when he come back to you, what you go say, I don't know whether check get it, what the check was the man you get because that's what he encouraged me to do. So Mr. Pierre, have a
Yes, scholar, thank you very much. An important point has been made because I always believe children born pure is big people that spoil children. And I do not believe sometimes you have little children, people say they give in trouble. Children cannot give trouble. A child cannot give trouble. If you watch, children mimic older people, the older ones. Monkey do what monkey see. They're trying to experiment. They're adventurous. They're climbing. They're imitating the elder ones. So we have to be more positive with our children. And we have to teach them to be respectful. And adults, we're going to make mistakes. But we can't take it, continue doing it. We always have to try to improve. So if we are respectable to one another, our children might imitate us. You have different customs and practices in the country, different religious beliefs, and we must respect one another. We don't have to believe, we don't have to agree, but we must respect one another. The caller spoke about the 4 women in St. Andrews, and I think I have to agree with him. I think any political organization would have loved to have 4 women of that kind of strength. We have a caller on the line. Caller, welcome.
Hello. Hello.
Go right ahead, caller, and cut off your radio.
Yes, how are you?
Yes, good, great.
Okay, I just want to say, look, okay, we talk about children.
Your voice, either you have to put the gadget closer to your mouth or speak louder.
Yeah, you hear me better?
Yeah.
Right, I just wanted to say something concerning the homes and right. Now we have to understand as we as adults, right? Our children mirror our ways, right? The first parent, the first school is the home. The first teacher is the parent, and this is fundamental, right? This goes across the board, right? Now we blame our children. Oh, the youth, but the children only mirror our ways, right? And we have to understand, and this is first and foremost. So we cannot go blaming the youth, and blaming the children, right? It's we set the example for them, and that is what they are following. That is what this is what it is, and this is what it is. Frank and play. The next thing is you there?
Go ahead, caller.
The next thing is that Mr. Pierre, we talking about violence against women, violence against children. But I tired make that point. Mr. Pierre, we cannot take violence in isolation.
You think violence against everybody?
Violence is violence.
We got lots of violence against men too.
Exactly.
And men must be afraid to say that.
Definitely, but
yeah, I agree with you.
Exactly, but these people in authority, they're taking it in isolation.
Well, I think in all fairness to you, men has shut them out, and a lot of even when men speak, there seems to fracture the relationship between the sexes, rather than object to violence. In all instances, they single out men to be the reprobate, the violent one, the bohemian. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think sometimes it's unfair.
Yeah, but what you see, violence is that thing. You have violence in all forms. Physical violence, mental violence, psychological violence. Violence is violence in any form. Any type of violence is wrong, and this is what we have to speak about. We can't think. Well, it's saying violence against women, violence against children, violence is violence in any form. You have violence in the home, in the workplace, on the streets, in the schools, among children. Violence is violent, and we have to condemn violence at all levels in any form. Right? Violence is violence in any form. The next thing is, we you see there are so many different things to speak about sometimes, you know.
But sometimes we could just take one and tomorrow we take the next one and the next time we take the next one.
Yeah, okay, but
Yes,
that's
it's good.
no problem.
Yeah. All right, brother.
All right, bye.
Yeah, a lot of times this question come out about violence against women and children. Men have to understand whenever all our society, let me say, is cultured, we always have to protect women and children. Children have to be protected. So when violence is delivered unto children, people must speak about it. And in the past, women was on the receiving end of violence. In some countries, it is still so. But in most Western countries, these things is changing. But the international community continues with the same agenda. So whereas in Grenada, perhaps there is more violence meted against men. But the issue, the emphasis, the concentration is on violence against women. Now, who are the ones that propagating the most violence? Where men is concerned is men that exercising violence against men. And there are some instances, and I don't know what yardstick you use, whether there is much instance of men acting violently against women. It may not be so now. That might change. But you have a lot of violence in the society, men against men. I think I don't agree necessarily with the people in gender affairs and women organization, because a lot of men has been, the significance of the male sometime in the society is diluted, particularly in the family, even in the schoolhouse. 70% of the children exiting school today cannot meet the minimum requirements. You might shock to know what the statistic is among men. When you go into prison, all the prisons in the Caribbean is overpopulated. And the majority of people in prison are men. And the men in prison did not exit school with the minimum academic requirements. So there seems to be a direct relationship between the level of education, skills and talents, and violence. In addition to that, sometimes because we have freedom of media, the media sometimes is giving too much spotlight to incidents of violence and not promoting positive incidents. Now, you don't have to believe me, but do a little research. Start to ask around what percentage of the people, of the male in your community are violent. Ask yourself that. When you sit down in a group, in the shop, in your home, speak to your children. What percentage of the children in the school behave badly or violent behavior? You might surprise to know is way under 10%. Way under 10%. And even when they select that 10%, you look at them, they seem worried. As if they don't show this 10% is violent in truth. What could we do? The answer must always be what we could do. We have to make certain that we hold discussion in our families. Family must hold discussion with the young boys and girls, their children, because you don't want them end up in the violent group. And then more and more, because of the secular world, everybody challenging the church. Everybody know, because of the role religion has played in slavery, black people seems to associate religion with slavery. Slavery was existing long before the Europeans go in Africa and the Africans sell us to the Europeans. But we seems to associating slavery directly with religion. And the devil could cite scripture for its purpose. So yes, those who are involved in the slave trade use religion. So young men are not going to church. We have to remember in our society, it's religion that tend to make us a little softer. They say to forgive. Say honor thy father and thy mother. Christianity say have one woman. They say don't beat her. Love the woman as you love yourself. Love your woman as you love yourself. Now women don't have to love men. They just have to respect the man. The Bible gives you also the guidance. So when you throw religion away, when you cast religion aside, what is left? We have a caller on the line. Caller, welcome.
Good day, sir.
Yes, my brother, welcome.
I just come and I want to punch.
One time.
No time to it.
No.
This morning I heard in the political...
You have a radio, your radio in the back. What you need to do, you have to go aside so the radio could play, but we mustn't get the feedback. So move aside and use your phone to call and let other people listen on the radio. But don't stay near the radio. Because I want the people around you to hear and participate and involve. But you must stay away from the radio because you know how a mic gives feedback. So it blasts our ears. Yeah?
Yes.
Right, go ahead.
I heard... Oh,
Yeah, you understand now? You have to stay a little away from the radio. You have to stay away from the radio. So you must not be hearing the radio. You speak on your phone. And the others will hear your radio. Yes, caller?
yes.
Yeah.
I heard this morning that Mr. Tobias Clement is running for the NDC in the Northeast, in St. George's. I want to say to him, I don't believe, he believed he could be lucky because Peter David and others was on the other side and they came over with the NSP and they were successful. This is a different cup of tea. Because I look at him as a political joker. I don't see Tobias as a serious man. He wouldn't be so lucky. I hope he don't believe he could do as well as how he did in the New National Party. Because he is a joker politically in my book. Also, in my area, some people pose a question to me. I wish Dr. Mitchell does have the time to listen to Target because he told me something he don't hear me. I don't know if he's on your program.
But aren't you supposed to have some big meeting today?
This evening,
Right.
we will be, our caring Prime Minister coming to meet with all people of St. Patrick West, the 9 PD. Welcome to that meeting at McDonald College from 5:30.
So after, maybe tomorrow you give us a call and tell us what's the result of it.
I will do that.
All right, thank you, caller. Oh, go ahead.
Lastly, some people ask me how your Prime Minister was able to pay salary on time in a pandemic. How he was able to extend social services, public assistance, all these things in a pandemic. So that's a special man. So this is why I'm saying he have people without conscience. That's the leader would love to see people have money in their pocket. So I don't know if he's going to be able to answer that one day because I can't answer for him. They asked me, how are you doing that? In a time when the economy was in scramble, he was doing things on time, he was extending, he was helping the needy cases, the needy parents, and all things. So they want to know how. I think I have to ask him that one day. So later, I want everyone to come out and hear what he has to say to us. We the people of St. Patrick West.
All right, thank you, caller, and I'm going to attempt to answer your question from my perspective. You know, yes, you see, I remember having a discussion on the program with Mr. Clement, and I'm not surprised at all that Mr. Clement was selected as the candidate for St. George's Northeast or whatever. I'm not surprised at all. Mr. Clement, you see, sometimes we have to try to analyze the politics and the politician, and sometimes rest with little prejudice aside for a while. Mr. Clement has been in the politics for a very long time and as a very young man. We have a caller on the line. Caller, welcome.
Kennedy, and how are you today, man?
Great man, good man.
What about Andre? Is he around?
No, he's not around.
Right. Kennedy, that last caller, I tend to agree with that caller in terms of, with greatest respect to Tobias Clement, I think he's a political joker. Also, I want to say, because my views is independent. I'm not sitting at any politician.
You're going down a little.
I say, my view, you heard what I say? I say I agree with the gentleman.
Yeah.
Right. I respect his position. I say, I'm independent because I am not sitting on any politician's eyebrow, and when they wink up, I fall. But I still have to be responsible because you could slander people and the decision could be true. So whatever everybody say, including myself, you have to be responsible. Now, why Keith Mitchell able to pay salaries and so etc. during that time? You have to look at the loans. Probably it's a set of loans, or if it's a grant or whatever the case is, but it's a set of loans that people be taking, and we don't know what is the debt to GDP. But what I want to say I want to talk about a lot of people have lost Kennedy. A lot of people have lost monies in British American and Clico insurance years ago. I'm talking about serious thing. I'm talking about things. And I would really love the government to really see what could happen, because I know a lot of people have lost their pension. They've been paying pensions in Clico since in the 1960s. Lots of people I know have died because they didn't get back the money. Then there's the Clico situation. There's the British American situation, because it's two different companies. Then there is the SLG, where people lose money. Then there's the Capital Bank, where, because I know about banking, whatever little idea I have. And I know that the central bank governor, which was Dwight Venn at the time, told this government here, do not grant a license to Capital Bank, the banking license. And of course they went ahead and gave them the license, reckless and responsible, and all the customers, people have lost, the money's lost. So I would really love to, in terms of all these financial debts that the government have accumulated over the years, I'm not sure if they're able to pay all these people's monies, because that, to me, that is not proper management. That is reckless and irresponsible. But in terms of the pensions for the Clico people, right, I would really, really love this government to address it, because you see, if there was proper regulation put into place, that probably might not have happened. I don't know, because nobody knows. I can't know what had happened years ago. But you have to be able to have this balance sheet access to the financial statement and see what is going right and wrong. And for companies, or for any company that is supposed to be there's an oversight and regulated by the government of Grenada in terms of the Ministry of Finance, and for it to collapse, that is reckless and irresponsible. So and that's not proper management. So I'm saying I really wish and I hope that maybe the government should try and do something, because it's a problem, not over here alone, but in the OECS, because a lot of people send their money, Kennedy, overseas, because they invested in a product in British American, some annuity. People promised them 13%, which is ridiculous, because the bank couldn't afford that. But it was an illegal product, was not regulated by the central bank, and the government and the other governments too. Because not all governments had a duty and a responsibility to do those things, because when you look at the Banking Act, it's different to the Insurance Act. And that is reckless and irresponsible. So I'd really love all of them to get together, because people are hurting, they lose a lot of money. Not me, because I worked in a bank before, and nobody can fool me,
yes,
to the best of my knowledge, to tell me they'll give me 13%. So I'd really love the government to see if they could help these people, because a lot of people are hurting because of their reckless and irresponsible actions. Thank you.
Yes, scholar, thank you. This is a very important subject matter, and as I say, we only provoke discussion. And one of the challenges that we have, when things happen, the experts in this field shut them out. They shut them out. Dwight Venner Grenada didn't have to get any instruction from Dwight Venner to give license for banking. At that time, it was not necessary. A lot of things has changed, and system have been put in place to tighten up a lot of financial institutions. Most of it is because of the American Osama bin Laden damaging the Americans, and then the whole tying up about terrorists and funding. But today, the financial machinery is much stronger than before. One of the challenges we have in Grenada and the rest of the Caribbean is when the intelligentsia shut them out. When SGL or SLG or what came into Grenada, a number of people seek advice from the financial brains in our country, private sector, etc., and they shut them out. Or they was as naive as possible. So today, the financial institutions and check and balances are much stronger than before throughout the Caribbean. But not only SGL and Capital Bank, British American was legitimate. And we lost a lot of money in British American. The insurance companies, imagine the credit unions, the trade union, and even NIS, I understand, lost money. So it is a rude awakening, a financial rude awakening. Remember, we have a problem with our country, with our people. They're not investing. They like to save. So when these institutions provide an opportunity for them to save, and they offer them attractive percentages, they were very happy. But we have to encourage our people to invest. And if it is too good to be true, it is definitely too good to be true. The number to call is 442-0175, and we speak on any subject matter. And we have our brothers and sisters on the line. Good afternoon from Baltimore, Maryland, and our brothers from SGU, and a number of them checking in and giving, expressing their views. Some women are violent against men also, but men are afraid to speak. But yes, there are times when if you ask women, next time you meet 10, 12, or 5 women, ask them, men and women, who is more violence against children? And the women will tell you, women. But traditionally, historically, women have bear the brunt of violence. Things has changed a lot in Grenada. Today we have about 7 or 8 women running on the NNP side. We have 4 stalwart women in Grenville. And if you speak to them, they would tell you they have great respect for the men. They have no problem with working with men, and men have not been violent to them. So a lot has changed. But generally in the world, women is still the subject of a lot of violence. In the Islamic countries, in Pakistan, India, someplace in Africa, imagine a man have 8 wives. And I'm not disputing that. I don't angry with them. I'm saying it's a different belief. Man have 5 wives. And the Quran say you could beat your wife. He say admonish her. Deny her your bedroom. Or beat her slightly. So even then in Jesus Christ's time, men was a male-dominated society. A lot has changed. So you still find if a man get 2 bucks, he mightn't complain. But be careful. We have a caller on the line. Caller, welcome.
Jesus Christ's time, men was a male-dominated society.
Hello, caller, welcome.
So you still find if a man get 2 bucks, he mightn't complain.
All right, so we lost that caller. The situation is, sometimes you have violence in the home, and a man may tolerate some violence, but be careful. Women have to be careful. The same man you may hit once or twice and he tolerate it. That doesn't mean that man cannot beat you. He may tolerate it because he don't want to lose you. So you wouldn't find men readily complaining about being abused because they want to continue the relationship. And that is significant. It is a strategy. It is not necessarily that a man cannot physically handle a woman. Some women just get complacent. They believe because they speak to the man in an abusive way or they use physical force on him and the man agrees with it. We have a caller on the line. Caller, welcome. Yes, caller, welcome. Your radio, caller. Your radio is so loud in the back. So sorry, you have to try again. You got to cut off the radio. You can't listen to us on the radio and on the phone because it'll always be later. It comes a little later on your radio. So listen to us on your phone and turn down your radio a bit. Yes, there are some times that women have to learn that and be careful. Because you might be abusive or insulting or even physically challenging to your male and your male tolerate it, it doesn't mean that a man can handle you easily. We have a call on the line. Caller, welcome.
Yeah, hey brother, good day.
Yes, my brother.
The northeast or the northeast constituency was the NDC branch was supposed to have some selection of candidates in the Bel Air school last night. Could you give me any information on that? Could you give us any information on that if you have?
No, I have no clue on it.
All right, sir. Good.
Yeah, I have no clue. I did not hear that. Maybe they did not make it public. And once they would make the news publicly. So I don't have a clue. Yes, so it's important for us to understand in relationship. And we constantly have to encourage people to hold discussion in relationship and try to be respectful to one another. The man should try and avoid physical exchanges in the house. And the woman should be tactful. I remember this sister with nice dark eyes. I always like her eyes. So when I see her with her dark eyes, I'll provoke her. Let me see that beautiful eyes of yours. But that day it seems as though she got a blow and the eyes was a bit sore. So she took out the dark eyes and I had to ask her what happened. Well, she and the man was in conflict and somehow or the other, he told her he'll give her a slap. And she said, slap me now. And he fired back. Well, he pleaded and, after and regretted. But maybe the woman could have been more tactful. And that's why you want to be violent against me. And break his heart. Rather than challenging him. The Dalai Lama say, if you cannot beat your opponent, tie your two hands behind your back when you go into your opponent. So your opponent knows you are no threat to them. If you are a woman in a house and you realize that your man is likely to exercise violent action against you, well, why provoke him? Why challenge him? Why dare him? Call out, punch.
Yeah. Pierre?
Go right ahead, caller.
No, the thing about it is, look, listen. No, how do you mention about a man having more than one wife? But to me, okay, our law book said, look, a man should have one wife.
That is in Grenada. I was talking about the wall.
Yes, in Grenada. But you're right. But really and true, there is nothing wrong with a man having more than one.
In Grenada, is bigamy.
Well, yes,
and it's wrong.
No, but listen. But the thing about it is, okay, it is against all law that a man could have that a man shouldn't have more than one wife. But the thing about it is, okay, but what about all the women that is out there that men is taking advantage of every day and that is going unnoticed?
You come back again with men taking advantage of women.
Yeah.
Sometimes you surprised to know in Grenada it might be the reverse.
No, but Mr. Pierre, I talking about men that does get women pregnant and just leave them on their own and.
So we have to be careful with these statements. Mm-hmm. We say men get women pregnant.
Well, I mean, no.
A woman accept her kid. She
Yeah,
accept
but-
the child.
Yeah, because well, listen, because due to her unfortunate situation at the time.
So you think a man should have two women because you have a lot of women down the outside there that don't have man?
No, I am saying, listen to me. Don't jump the gun. I am saying that look, if long as that man could care for the women in a loving, appropriate way, there is nothing wrong with that. Because
With a man having two women.
No, because at the end of the day, Mr. Pierre, is caring, right?
It's against
right?
the law
People
in
need-
Grenada to marry two women. So we can't encourage it on the
Yeah, but what I'm saying is we do allow that, but we have a lot of women. I mean, a lot of our women folk is just going astray and doing all kind of foolishness, right?
When you
And-
say they're going astray, what you mean? They don't have man?
Yes, listen to me, and they're not cared for and making children for Tom.
You have to remember, women and men are equal. So the man don't have to care for the woman. If you mean in terms of financial support and management and etc. He can manage the woman.
Okay, so listen, right? I don't really want to be talking, but tell me something. Why in Africa and the days of the kings, right? The days of the kings, all the kings that used to have. Well, I mean, a lot of them then used to have 4 and 5, sometimes 6, sometimes hundreds of wives. Why?
It's a different culture.
But Mr. Pierre, but there is nothing wrong with that. But the thing about it is, right? Listen, it takes the women under their care, so they could be properly cared for. They could be right. They could be properly because listen. Listen to me. The thing is not about sex alone. The thing is about properly maintaining, properly cared for. Because we are not doing that, but there's a lot of the women folk out there that is just going wild, having children wild, and we know that too. So at the end of the day, what is the point then? We don't allow that, but yet we have a lot of women folk just going wild, having child for Tom, Dick, Harry, and children going astray and everything. So which is really better?
Well, I'm talking about which is legal.
Well,
in Grenada.
But legal doesn't really make the thing.
But let's stay on the safe legal side. But we may have some women commenting, so let us perhaps listen to some women comment on that issue. Right? Yeah, you see, we have to encourage what is legal in Grenada. In Grenada, a man's supposed to marry once. He have his wife. If you want to do it again, you have to divorce. In some countries, a man could have 4 or 5 wives. But you have extramarital relationship in Grenada. You have people with a girl, maybe a woman, she have children, years, and they don't want to marry. Some of them don't want to make the ultimate commitment because marriage is an ultimate commitment to one woman. When you go publicly and you say, for better or for worse, in sickness and in health, till death do us part, you make a public declaration. Now, in some countries, people have 4 and 5 wives. That's the law there. We have a caller on the line. Caller, welcome.
Good afternoon, my
Welcome, ma'am. Great, yeah.
Let me tell you, that man must shut up.
No. We remember on the program, we encourage people to talk.
Well,
just a while.
Yeah.
But remember, we encourage people to bring in new topics.
Yes.
And this is a topic that need to be discussed.
Yes.
We don't have enough time to do justice to the topic, but we provoke discussion.
Well, I'm talking now.
All right, go ahead.
When I talking, right, with my father, Agun and my own self. My father had 2 women in the same parish, believe in it.
But he was not married to them.
No, he married to, no, he don't marry to none.
So he was a hot boy.
He know, my father know. And the other man, no. And one day, the two men meet up with that one woman.
So the two men want to fight for the one woman?
Yes. That day.
Bacchanal, thing nice.
My mother, oh God, my mother no jam, my father so no. My father could not have jumped out, but the other man jumped out in the back door.
Yeah, both of them had tabang choke.
That's right.
Yeah.
When my father reached home now, he had to beat my mother.
So okay, so you have another.
The only weapon I had in my hand.
So you charged too?
If I had a weapon, my father be dead.
So you get involved. You see bacchanal?
The thing run up in my head. And as it jump up in my head, the only weapon I had in my hand and me was my teeth. If
So
I
you
tell
drop it on him?
I go down and I throw the skin and the gun.
Well,
I
yes.
take my mother and I take her. My mother was such a wonderful lady.
Well, yes,
And
but
the
you see,
other lady
you
was a
gone.
wonderful lady.
Yeah, but you go and interfere
fact-
in the people relationship. That is not your role. Your mother getting too little lash, you go and join in.
Too little lash.
Too little lash.
All me, my sister crying, my brother crying, and I go stand up there and see me father.
Yeah, well,
beat up my mother. Your mother.
Yeah, sometime-
your mother come first.
Yes, sometimes children have to do what they could do to avoid violence. You see, as a people, we always have to preach against violence. And we have to try our best not to encourage violence.
Well, no, that is wrong. Wrong for another woman. No, she know. She know, not to say she don't know. She know the two men had a wife. But why she doing that?
Well, you
that
see,
woman was a wicked
No,
woman.
you see the problem. We always blaming the woman.
A woman wicked.
No. Sometimes the man, remember, man is a hunter. He's smart. He conniving, right? Sometimes he know the woman have she man, but he putting up a good case and constant pressure, right? And sometimes she fall prey to it. We continue to say our women are on the receiving end. The woman have a child. Nobody is she's not getting assistance. The man she with is not making an ultimate commitment towards her. So she don't know where she stand. She is vulnerable. Now we have to face this reality.
No, I don't like that. Bye-bye, Mr. Pierre.
All right, thank you. Thank you.
Bye.
You see, these things are important in society, and we must not afraid to discuss them. You have men in our society today vying for political leadership. And what is their attitude to their family? They have children. They're old men, old males. They're not married. So they're ending up in a lot of different relationships. And they're free. You're 30 years, you're 35 years. You have a number of relationships outside there. You're playing with hearts. And you're wooing them with sweet talk, good possibilities, and sometimes financial support. But you have no intention to make the ultimate commitment to any relationship. Then how you going to do it in politics? It's the same thing in politics. You have to be committed. The brother call it love. You have to be committed to your political relationship. So if you are a homosexual, one understand that. You tell the public, I'm a homo. So the public know who they're dealing with. If you is a womanizer, you let the public know, I'm a man that wants 5 women. So when the people vote for you, they know you as a hot man. But if you are committed to one relationship, the public must know too. Now, some people say there are 3 ways to live your life. If you look at it from a spiritual perspective. The religious, the married life, and the single life. The single life don't mean you have man and woman. You know. It means you decide to live single. Remember what St. Paul said. But if you're a politician, people have to look at you in total. Not only your political perspective, But the life you live, what is it you're telling the young men outside there? What is it you're telling the young women outside there? This is one of the reasons the 4 women in St. Andrews appear to be so solid and so strong. All of them seems to be committed to relationship. They're committed to family. All of them seems to be reaching out to the family members. And that is good for society. So when you look at them, when you speak to them, you take a holistic approach to them. And I think that should be encouraged. Because in our society today, you have a lot of young people not married. You have a lot of women with children, but the income that they have is not enough to carry their life and their children and education and etc. And the man have one foot in the pond and one out. They can't get a commitment from him. So we mustn't afraid this topic. We must prepare to discuss it. And you could give me a call. The number to call is 442-0175. You know, we invite anybody, everybody, to make a contribution on it. The sister said, Tobias trying to gang up on the NNP party because he sees the power of the powers. I think we have been miscalculating on Tobias. Tobias is a very contemplative fellow. Somebody that want to be in the spotlight but don't want to be in the front running. So even while he was in NNP, he preferred to function in SGU where he has a very good job, but he wants to be in the political spotlight. But he don't want to give all this commitment. And he's a very contemplative and a deep thinker without a philosophy. Here you have NDC political party. You have a new leader coming. They seems not to have any serious inclination to take on board the old people in the party. They seem to be very suspicious and would prefer not have the old guards. So all of a sudden, they seems to be running out of manpower. But here is Tobias, very contemplative, a deep thinker without a philosophy. His only reservation to the NDC when he was asked soon after he moved away from NNP was NDC was not inclusive. That was his only concern. NDC was not inclusive. Now remember, the old guards, the new force, the new energy in NDC don't want the old guards. And they don't too like the old people. So Tobias could find a better accommodation with them. And they don't have to worry about him. Because he doesn't seem to be that ambitious. We have a caller on the line? We have a caller. Welcome. Punch.
Yes, sir.
Yes, my brother.
Yes, sir.
Go right ahead.
I'm glad you're speaking about Mr. Tobias. I see Mr. Tobias as a hypocrite. And I say that openly and clearly. Because Mr. Tobias has said that he doesn't want to work for the salary that is being paid to a minister. He also refused to accept the salary paid as opposition leader. But now today, he's offering himself as a candidate again for the NDC. And as you just said, he said that the party was not exclusive enough. And he's saying that he's more popular in the area there than any other. But where he gained his popularity, how did he gain his popularity? What ticket in all the time that he contested election? What party did he support? And I have no problem with him supporting our other party. But I see that as hypocrisy. Because if you do not want to work for that salary, when you go join with the NDC now, what salary are you going to be working with SUA still? What salary will you accept?
When you become a politician, there you know again, and NDC wins the seat in the election. Would you want to be a candidate? Would you want to be a minister at this time? It's a cause for concern. So I'm not certain that Mr. Duas can make a very good representative. He is the leader of the opposition now. And every bill that went through Parliament from the time he left the NMP, he has supported. Yes, he criticized some of it, and he have a right to. But he support every bill. So you were telling me that you are in the same wicket, you are on the same infield, you are on the same level ground with the NMP? Because he can support every bill. You have nothing against the bill. Questions he asking, he's the head of the financial committee, but he asking questions that he's supposed to ask in the financial committee. I consider that to be hypocrisy.
All right, Colin. Thank you. Yes, the Tobias issue is a good political discussion to have. We have never had it, so perhaps the lines are blurred. I could understand why the NDC leader or leadership would glad to have Mr. Tobias. As I said before, he's a deep thinker, but not a very defined philosophy. In addition to that, he's a very contemplative individual who is not quick to make decisions. He wants to be in the politics, but not necessarily to provide all this commitment to politics. He prefers to keep his job. And being in the NDC now, he could achieve that. The salaries that come from politics is not so important to Mr. Clement. And Mr. Clement is in the politics long that he could be resourceful to the party behind the scene. Perhaps he is trying to be an individual power broker. He don't have to have a position. He could be on 3, 4, 5 boards and get more pay than what a politician gets. You have to understand that. So because the NDC new executive doesn't want the old guards, is not interested in the old people, you're surprised to know how powerful Mr. Tobias' position become in this new dispensation as a broker and a very strong resource personnel because they lack experience. Almost all the individuals there are extremely green. Mr. Tobias have not taken serious issue with NNP members, so he still have a relatively good relationship with them. I think he's in a good position, and I'm not surprised at all. And it could well mean that the new leader is thinking deeper than a lot of people believe. But we come to the end of our program, and we're back with you again tomorrow between 12 and 1. And remember, we speak about anything. We fear no subject matter, and we express our views and opinion, particularly on politics. Thank you.